Hi everyone, happy Thursday to you out there. Hang on a second there till you get a chance to pop in there. Unusual for me, I'm almost exactly on time, just 1 minute past 5:30 there. Hey Elsa Louise, nice to see you, and Susan, good to see your faces there people. I'm enjoying a small little bit of sunshine outside here. As you can see, it looks a small bit brighter. I hope your Thursday is all good out there. Let me know how your day is going in the comments there. Just post it up, let me know. As I've given a little hint in the title here, I'm going to be revealing the pattern for the Winter Seasons Club. So last Thursday, we were just getting ready to start out. I was just getting ready to start out on shipping all of the clubs out, or rather I should say Laura was rather than me, but they were just incredibly fast shipping at the moment. After several years of very, very slow shipping, I had just kind of come to the conclusion that shipping is going to take several weeks and never to expect it particularly fast. So like we had items that got shipped on Friday from Cork in Ireland that were arriving in Monday in the US, which I'll be honest with you is almost unheard of. I cannot believe how quickly some of the items came. Oddly enough, anyone who's in Europe, we're discovering that mainland Europe is probably slower now, that the items were getting faster to the US than they were getting to Germany and to Holland and things like that. So do sit tight if you haven't quite got it yet and you're based in somewhere within Europe. It will get there. It just takes a couple of days longer. And it's not so much that your post is terribly slow. It's actually the other way around, that the US post just seems to be very fast at the moment. Don't know why, but it is. And yeah, very thankful. It's also why I'm here to tell you all about the Seasons Club pattern today. Because I was going to release tomorrow, because so many of them have arrived, it actually made sense to just go ahead and get started with letting you know all about it. Elsa Louise, you're going to swap chocolate chips for the apricots. Very good. There's a very strong chance that I may do that when I'm making them as well, although we do have some apricots at home. Anyone who's wondering here about what we're talking about, every one of the Seasons Club comes with a recipe that's done by Evan O'Keefe, and this year's one is apricot pieces in cookies. So that is what we're on about. So the recipe comes, there's both a recipe card within the actual pattern itself, and then there is also and then we've also got the actual recipe itself as a PDF download, depending on which way you prefer actually working with it. So you'll also have gotten 3 balls of Gillette yarn. This is the color that came for the subtle colorway, which I actually am very fond of. It's kind of a sagey green, maybe a bit minty. So that one was the subtle one. There was the bright red for the bright, and then there is a gray, a kind of a light gray color for the seasonal one. Elsa Louise, the pattern looks wonderful. Good, good, good. So that they were, that's the yarn that came. There was a couple of other things that popped in as well. There was some hand balm for knitters, and we also had a little candle. You may notice its design on it is a honeycomb, and it's actually made from beeswax up in the country here as well. So Laura is an absolute star at finding very, very interesting little items to put in. So they're small and easy to ship, but very uniquely Irish and very different. So yes, we've definitely got a lot to thank Laura for all of the interesting things that are added into the kits, that's for sure. Now, for the pattern for this one, I was saying that we were going with texture. We wanted to look at texture and knits and pearls and how they all interacted in together. And what I did it on was a shawl. So it's, again, when it's a heavier weight worsted yarn, shawls are going to, I think of them kind of as glorified scarves, really, because you're most likely to wear them as a scarf. But because they're big enough, you can also open them out to put over your shoulders in cooler weather. But for general use, you can kind of tuck them in around as a scarf. Put 2 options in. There's one option which is texture all over. So you start off the stitch pattern and then you begin, when that one finishes, you reintroduce the same panel over and over again. So you've got the full thing repeating across the whole thing. And then the second one is if you just want a certain amount of texture, but you want the rest of it to kind of just be quick knitting that you don't have to think about quite as much. That one has the initial panel of pattern stitches, and then the rest of it is worked in stockinette stitch. So I will come reveal now. I'll have to stand back a bit so you can actually see them. These were squished into a bag after the photo shoot, so I'm afraid it's a little wrinkled. I should really have taken it out earlier and given it a block, so that was very bold of me. So this one is the one with what I call the partial pattern, or the partial texture. So it starts down, have I got it the right way around? I do. Yeah, so you start down here with the tip and you introduce this full panel of texture stitches, but then as it comes up along here, the rest of it as you're working across gets worked in stockinette stitch. And I like having options, particularly something like a club where you might use it again, or you want, everybody can kind of experiment with different ones that you can see which ones you like best. And the edge of this, I've done a picot bind off. So that's what the edge of this one looks like. And this one is in the brights color. And they're a pretty decent size for actually wearing as a scarf and wrapping around. That's always the downside when you're taking photographs, because you want to take photographs so that it's opened out and you can see them easily, but it's not necessarily how you wear them. The reality is that when you wear shawls in wintertime, they're wrapped around your neck or very closely around your shoulders. Elsa Louise, how is my chunky Donegal sweater coming? It's coming along well, thank you. I've got one sleeve done, and I've just picked up the stitches for the neck of it. So should have it finished shortly. However, that one, the pattern is going to be delayed. I think by the time it's finished, because it's in heavier weight, it's going to be delayed till the autumn for the pattern to come out, is my guess with that one, because you don't generally release chunky weight patterns coming up to the spring. So that's going to be a delayed one. Over here is the fully textured one, and this is done in the subtle colorway that I showed you already. So you started on the bottom before with that first stitch pattern panel set up, but then this time you're going to work all the way across the full lot of it, so that you've got just the texture repeated as you go along. And then this one I finished off with an I-cord bind off, so a different bind off from the picot one here, but both options are put in, and you can repeat, you can work either with either shawl. They're all very interchangeable. Carmen, what is the sweater I'm wearing? This is Woodburn cardigan in Blosta. It's one of my favorites, actually. It's kind of cold around the office, because I had on, it was a hoodie, it was a wool hoodie, but it was a lighter weight one, and so I put this on and I'm like super cozy now. So yeah, Blosta is definitely when I'm a little bit chilly and I need to warm up, that's what I end up pulling for. So these are the two shawls. Same but different, if you know what I mean. So that's all fed into the one pattern, so both options are all into the same pattern. Linda, you were asking what's the red shawl I have on. This is the reveal of the Seasons Club shawl. So it's Caonach is the name of the pattern. I'm probably mispronouncing it because my Irish is a bit rusty. I liked the word because it means moss in Irish, so it just, the area around our house, and in winter time everything's very mossy, and it just, I liked the idea of the name for a pattern, but I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Caonach. And if there's anyone who's much better at Irish pronunciation than me, then feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm getting it wrong, but that is what it means. So if you are not part of the winter club, the pattern for the shawls, when the next club is released, which will be the spring one, after that's released, then this shawl will be available as a pattern at that point. And I've none of the bright color left. I do have some of this one and some of the seasonal one of the Gillette yarn, so they will go up at that point, so it should be May. What's the cream color yarn you were using in my demos? Online, I actually can't remember. I think it might be Katia or something like that. I was just looking for a super chunky yarn that was going to make it a bit easier to see stitches, so but something smooth. I think it's a Katia yarn. I don't swear on it, it's not something I stock. It was just something I found that was a little bit bigger for just purely for demonstration purposes. I think that's what you're probably talking about. Yeah, the most recent ones. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to say some kind of Catia yarn, kind of like an acrylic wool blend, generally speaking. And it's just, yeah, super, super chunky, but very smooth. So nice big stitches and very easy to show on camera, because often if you're using the yarn you actually use in projects and things, when you're trying to put it up on camera, it's very hard to see the stitches big enough. So you need to oversize the yarn in order to be able to see it a bit more easily. So that's what I look for when I'm looking for demonstration yarn, so to speak. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about here was the mystery knit along, the quilted feather mystery knit along, and to kind of give you all a huge big thank you. We've actually been kind of a little blown away by how excited you all were about the yarn kits and about the mystery knit along. It's really nice, a lovely way to start the year, and it's really very much appreciated, because we had several different yarn types and combinations up, and I thought there would be plenty. And it all ended up selling out in the matter of 24 hours the first time it went up. Went yesterday and reordered, and once I had confirmation of the shipping, I put new kits up yesterday for pre-sale, which you may have gotten a notification if you're on the newsletter. And there's I think one of those is pretty much close to sold out now, one of the colors. And the rest of them are running down. There's still stock there, but it's definitely running down. So thank you very much. I couldn't really ask for a better way of starting the year, to be honest with you. So you were saying, Walton, you love the pattern. Thank you. I think I saw you were saying earlier on you're based in Canada. Yes, my experience, Canadian Post can tend to be a little slower. Although it's picked up a couple of years ago. It was taking like 6 to 8 weeks occasionally for Canadian packages. I think it might have been kind of around the time there was a whole pile of postal strikes and things like that. So it was very, very, very slow. So I don't think it's quite that bad anymore, which is good. And of course, the most recent one was COVID. So everyone's post ended up slowing down because they were so oversubscribed, I suppose, across the world. So anyone who is now in the Winter Club, you can jump into Knit Hub and you'll find all of the chat starting there. You'll be able to, I sent out a download link for the video, for the pattern, so you'll have that now. Also, if you log into the Teachable class, which is where all of the videos are, you can also download the video directly there. So if you forget where the download link is or anything like that, always just jump into Teachable and you'll find it inside there. And what was I going to say? And yes, and I'm going to do, not this Sunday, but the following on the 6th, there's going to be a Zoom launch party. So I've sent a link out that you just need to register for if you want to partake in that and come and sit and chat with us. And if you if you can't make it but would like to see it, there'll be a video download as well afterwards, so that you'll be able to watch it after the fact. So thank you all, everyone, for joining me this Thursday, and I'll be back next Thursday to chat a bit more. And please, if there's anything you would like me to answer, or if there's a particular technique you'd like to see, or if there's a pattern or some yarn ideas you want to see, just pop it in there. Send me an email, send me a direct message, or put it up in the comments here, and I will love to talk about it next Thursday with you, because it's always nice to have something to talk about, and if I know it's something you want to hear about, it's extra special. So thank you for joining me. Bye.